cats! Welcome back to another episode of Chat About That. I'm your host, Bella, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about An Evening with Antoni. Before I chat about that, I just want to say I know it's been a while since I posted an episode. I do think I'm going to have to go back to one episode a month. I know that that's not really the best schedule for a podcast, but my life has been getting really hectic lately, and I really only think that I'm going to be able to post one episode a month, and I'd like to post more. I'd really like to post one a week, but things are just getting really crazy here, and I do think I'm going to have to go back to one episode a month, or one episode the first week of the month and one episode like way late in the month or the last week of the month. So hopefully I'll be able to have 2 a month, but I don't want to promise anything that I'm not able to deliver. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. So for this episode, I really wanted to chat about An Evening with Antoni. So you might be thinking, what is An Evening with Antoni? So I did an entire episode on Queer Eye, and I talked about Antoni Porofsky in that episode, and he is the food guru of the Fab Five. And if you don't know anything about him or the Fab Five or Queer Eye, I highly recommend that you go and listen to that episode, because I chatted about all of them and what Queer Eye is and how much I love that show. So a couple of months ago, Antoni from Queer Eye, he posted that he was going to be publishing a new book called Let's Do Dinner, and he was going to be doing a book tour throughout the US, and he was actually coming to DC. So I told my mom and my sister about it, and my mom was really interested in seeing him live, and he was going to be doing these live cooking demonstrations with recipes from the book, and we were really excited about it. So we got tickets right away, and it was supposed to be at the Warner Theater in DC. And then a couple of weeks before the event, Antoni announced that he was going to be doing the tour virtually instead because of the Delta variant, and he was just a little worried about not just himself gathering for the event, but the safety of all the people attending. So, I was a bit disappointed in that, but I was still happy that he was doing the book tour in some capacity. And so before I actually talk about the event, I want to talk about my struggles and frustrations with trying to get the tickets switched over to the virtual event, because this was an absolute nightmare. And I'm just really frustrated with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and I don't know if I ever want to purchase tickets from them ever again, because the situation and the whole process of doing this was really, really frustrating and disappointing. And I don't blame Antoni at all. Just want to say that. I don't blame him. He has nothing to do with Ticketmaster or Live Nation. Like, he's just creating the event. He's just performing at the event, or demonstrating his cooking at the event. He doesn't have anything to do with Live Nation. So I don't blame him in any way. It's not his fault. It's not his responsibility to switch the tickets over. It's the vendor's responsibility. And so again, everything that I'm saying has no malice towards Antoni at all. Just wanted to say that. I don't think he'll ever listen to this podcast or see this, but if you do, Antoni, hi, I have nothing against you, and all of my frustrations are not geared towards you, because I absolutely enjoyed the event so much. I had the best time watching the event with my mom, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I just wanted to preface that I'm not mad at Antoni at all. So when I first heard that the event was canceled, I saw it on Instagram, and Antoni mentioned in the post that he was going to, have the event be virtual instead, and that the vendors for the events were supposed to be in contact with the participants, and that they would alert us of how we can switch over our tickets. So I was like, okay, I'm sure that I'll get an email at some point. So about a week goes by, and this was about a month, maybe a month and a half before the event. So about a week goes by, and I don't hear anything from Live Nation, from the Warner Theater, from Ticketmaster, nothing. I heard absolutely nothing. So I sent an email to Ticketmaster or Live Nation, one of them. I'm just going to call them the ticket venue. I sent an email to the ticket venue, didn't really hear anything back about it. So then I was getting worried, because it was about 2 weeks out, and I had no way of accessing the live stream for an event that I literally paid for that's not going on anymore. So I started to tweet at Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and the Warner Theater. I was tweeting at them saying this event's canceled. I sent them, in my tweet, I retweeted Antoni's thing, and I posted from Antoni's website where it says you can get your tickets transferred and all this stuff. And I had all the receipts. And then I got a couple of messages back saying like, oh, we're sorry for your frustration, you can DM us. So I was like DMing with like Live Nation or Ticketmaster, like one of those, and the ticket venue was like saying, oh, can you send me your ticket confirmation number, like we'll get this sorted out. So I sent it to them, didn't hear anything back from them. Then I started emailing the ticket venues help thing or whatever, and I was saying like, this event is not happening anymore, can you like do something about it? I want my money back, or I want to get transferred. And then they were saying, oh, because the Warner Theater still has it listed. I'm paraphrasing, but basically because the Warner Theater still had it listed as an event that was happening, I was not able to get a refund, and they weren't going to give me my money back. And I was like, okay, this event literally is not happening anymore. And they're like, well, we can't do anything about it. So then I went to the Warner Theater's website. I had to go a really weird roundabout way, but I eventually found an email address for the Warner Theater. The Warner Theater's in DC, if you don't know where it is. And I like it a lot. I've been there plenty of times. People there were very nice, but I don't know. I was very confused. So I went to their website. Before I found this email address that like took me forever to find, the Warner Theater had a line, like a phone number that you could call. So I called them, and it was like this robot that was telling me that I could like call somebody from like the ticket desk or whatever. So I get to, that part in the phone call, when you get like a phone call and it tells you press 1 for this or whatever. I like went through all these freaking numbers with them, eventually got a hold of the ticket box office, and it said the Warner Theater is closed until April. All shows have been canceled. Okay, well, your website's not updated. So then I found the email address. I emailed Warner Theater. Again, all the receipts saying Antoni's event's canceled. It's not happening. We're supposed to get transferred over to this live stream event. Super annoying. I got an email back maybe a couple days later. Again, this is like a week before the event. I got an email back from the Warner Theater, and they said, we've updated the website and this event is no longer happening or whatever. I'm like, okay. That doesn't help me. So I'm, contacting them, and I'm trying to contact Live Nation and Ticketmaster and all these things. So annoyed. Eventually I get an email back from Ticketmaster or Live, whatever, the ticketing venue. I get an email back from them, and they're saying, oh, so since this event has been canceled, like you can get your money back. How do I transfer my freaking ticket? So you're just going to cancel it. So then I just told my mom, I was like, look, I'm probably going to get my money back for this. I'm just going to purchase a live stream ticket, because at this point, like, I don't want it to sell out. I don't want to like not go to this event. So I purchased a ticket, and everything with that on Eventbrite was like totally fine. I got the Zoom link like the day of and everything, and it was totally fine. But I was like thinking to myself, like, did I get all these people their money back for canceling, like getting the event canceled? Like, was this me, or did a billion other people email them and say, hey, this event's canceled? Like, I don't know. And were they going to cancel it anyway? I have no idea. I don't know if I did that. I don't know if it was a combination of me and a lot of other people bitching at them, but eventually we, got the event canceled, and I was able to attend the event. I did get my money back, and, I'm happy about that, but I just think that the whole situation with having to go send all these emails and then getting conflicting information, like, I just found that to be really frustrating, really annoying. Again, I have nothing against Antoni. He was not his fault at all. But I think that if you're going to, host an event and it gets canceled, like, you as like a company or as a venue need to be on top of whether or not, events are still happening. I just think that's kind of ridiculous, and I was really, really frustrated with that. Now getting into the actual event. So the event, like I said, I did receive a link to access the live stream, and it wasn't on Zoom, it was hosted on like some other live streaming site, and it was really cool because you could go in and you could ask him questions, and you could do like a little chat and stuff, so he answered some of the questions. And during the live stream, he was actually joined by Tegan from Half Baked Harvest, and I had heard of Half Baked Harvest before, but I wasn't really super familiar with her or her brand and all of that. And she is an Instagram influencer, but she's also a chef, and she is actually writing her own cookbook, I believe, but she has this really beautiful Instagram account, and every single day she posts a different recipe, and they're so beautiful. Like, the food that she makes looks so incredibly beautiful, and I want to make every single one of her recipes because they look so good. But he was joined by her, and it was cool because they could ask each other questions and sort of bounce off each other because he didn't have that, audience to bounce off of. And at first when I heard about that, I was like, okay, is this just going to be them talking the whole time? But no, it was actually it was really, really cool. And I really liked that he had her there. Like I said, he did answer some questions from the audience, and my question wasn't answered, but that's okay. He did answer a lot of really cool questions. So what he was actually doing on the live stream is first he introduced himself, talked a bit about, his background and, that he had written a cookbook a couple of years ago and he wanted to do another one. So the original cookbook were just his favorite recipes. But then this cookbook, he wanted to do specifically dinner. And this cookbook is called Let's Do Dinner. And I forgot to mention that everybody who purchased a ticket got a signed copy of the book. So that actually just arrived at my parents' house. My mom has the book right now, but I'm really excited to try all the recipes, especially the recipe that he made during the live stream. So he made this warm kale salad with chicken. And at first my mom was like, ew, gross, kale, ew. I actually like kale. I used to hate kale, but I love it now. But basically he was talking about how kale is a really good green to have in your diet, but it's kind of difficult to work with sometimes, and people don't really know how to work with it properly. So normally when people get it, it's really tough and it's really overpowering. But he was talking about, since this is a warm salad, that you actually make this dressing, and it's a warm dressing, and then you mix it with the chicken, and it sort of softens up the kale and releases a lot of the flavor. So he talked about how, you wash the kale, and there's some other prep work that you go into making this recipe. And so, yeah, he just talked about how he, roasted some almonds the night before and chopped them up. And he talked a lot about different techniques he does with chopping. And, the chicken he used was actually a rotisserie chicken that he got at the grocery store. And he said that's a really great, thing that you can buy at the store because it's already pre-made. You can use it, for salads. You can use it for soups. You can just eat it by itself. There's a lot of versatility with rotisserie chicken, which I kind of knew about that, but it was nice to hear from an actual chef talking about how rotisserie chicken is actually something that's really valuable to have in the kitchen. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting. And then again, what he was saying about the kale, that you actually have to wash the kale and you have to massage the kale because it releases some sort of I don't know, it helps with the kale's flavor and texture and stuff. But I always thought washing your kale and massaging your kale was kind of stupid, but no, it actually makes perfect sense based on what he was talking about. So basically he took the chicken, he was cutting up the chicken, he was taking the kale off of its stem, and he was cutting it up and washing it. He also made these beautiful croutons. Well, he didn't actually make them. So what he did was he got bread from the store and he ripped it up into big chunks, and then he just lets them sit out and get hard. So basically croutons are either baked piece of bread, or they're sort of basically stale bread, but when you mix it with the dressing and everything in the salad, it tastes really good. But yeah, so he made that, and then what he was doing was he's making the dressing. He mixed olive oil and a bunch of other things into this dressing, and he was basically just cooking it on the pan. And then he also added anchovies. Now, I think anchovies are disgusting and I would never use them in anything, but he was talking about how if you don't want to use salt, a really great way to add flavor and salt into your meals is actually just using one anchovy, and you basically just put it in the pan and you just mix it up, and it basically just dissolves and it adds a lot of flavor. And my mom was saying yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's really, that's a really good thing to do in cooking and everything, and I would never have thought about doing that. And he said that it doesn't give any sort of fishy flavor to the salad or anything, or any sort of food that you're cooking with. It doesn't add a fishy flavor. It just adds a little bit of salt and a nice extra flavor into the dish. So I thought that was really interesting. So, he was making the salad and he was plating it, and he was talking about how that's one of his favorite meals to make because it's actually really easy. There is a little bit of prep that goes into it, but that's everything that you do a day before. And the prep for that didn't really seem like it was that difficult, just roasting almonds or whatever other kinds of nuts that you want to put in it is actually pretty easy. Just like set the, oven, you chop up the nuts and you put them in, and they cook themselves. So the prep work is not incredibly difficult, but he said it's like a really easy meal that he makes for him and his boyfriend, and it looked absolutely delicious. So I'm really, really looking forward to making that recipe. Not just because he did it in front of us, but because it seems like a really easy meal, and it seems like something that's like just, it looked so good. Like, it looked amazing. And even my mom was saying, like, I don't like kale, but that looks amazing. I would eat that. So yeah, that was like pretty much the live stream that he did, and I'm making it seem like he just cooked a meal and like left, but no, he was talking a lot about different recipes and easy things to do in the kitchen, and he was answering a lot of questions, talking about some of his favorite dishes, specifically talking about his book and how he really wanted to create a dinner cookbook, and it was a little bit more curated this time than his original book, because that was just like his favorite recipes that he liked to do, but this one is specifically for dinner, and I think that's really clever. And the meals that I cook most often for myself are dinner meals. I rarely ever cook like lunch for myself, except on maybe on the weekends. But I think that the live stream was really interesting. And Tegan from Half Baked Harvest was so cool. Like, she makes such beautiful things, and it was really cool to watch them like talk off of each other and answer questions and sort of talk about things that they loved, and they had a lot of similar opinions about recipes and different ingredients that they like to use. And I don't know, I found the whole live stream to be really cool and really interesting. And I really would have liked to see him live. I think that it would have been a really, really cool experience, but I'm glad that he ended up doing it virtually, just to have the live stream and have the event at all. I'm really grateful that he put that on, and I'm really, really excited about the cookbook. There were some of the recipes he was talking about that I'm really excited to try, and I think that there's going to be like a lot of different kinds of things in the cookbook that I'm not really used to cooking, because I normally make pasta or chicken dishes, but I feel like I need to branch out into different types of meals, and I think that cookbook is really going to give me some inspiration and just lead to a lot of really amazing recipes. So I know this episode was pretty short, but that's all I really wanted to talk about in this episode. I absolutely loved the live stream. I really love Antoni. I love all of the guys from Queer Eye. I just think they're all really amazing people, and they do such amazing work, and I just was really excited about seeing another event. Even though I wasn't able to go to it in person, it was still cool to have an event happen, and it just, making me more excited for other events that are coming up. I'm going to the Jonas Brothers concert soon, and also going to Florida for a week, so that event just kind of made me more excited to do things. I've also been going to the Renaissance fairs recently, and I am gonna do a whole episode about that probably in November, just because I'm still gonna be going to a couple more events in the meantime. So stay tuned for an episode about the Renaissance fairs. I'm also going to be doing an episode all about Universal Studios, my Halloween Horror Nights, and Harry Potter World. And even though I've been to Harry Potter World before, I have never done Halloween Horror Nights. And there's also a couple of things with Harry Potter World that I hadn't done the first time, and new things that they've added that I'm going to be doing. So stay tuned for those 2 episodes coming soon. And yeah, that was pretty much everything I wanted to talk about for this episode. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about an evening with Antoni, learning more about some of the recipes that he cooks, and I hope it inspired you to try out some new recipes. Hope it inspired you to look into his book, look into him, look into Queer Eye, and like always, stay safe, stay classy, and I will chat again with you soon. Goodbye.